Ladies and gentlemen, two of the surviving Mexico kidnapped victims that was kidnapped by the cartels did an interview recently with Anderson Cooper. And I'm going to play just a clip of the interview, and I'll be right back with my commentary.
So you finally arrive at this destination. What was it? It was a
It was a house with a lot of Mexicans outside with guns.
Putting on Diablo mask, red plastic mask. And
they put masks on.
yeah, it was putting the guns to our head, telling us not to look up, things like that.
Had you gotten any kind of medical treatment?
The cartel took us to a clinic after we left from the spot where they was questioning us at.
They told us they was like, I guess after they kept asking us and our questions, our answers never changed. They said, well, we're gonna get y'all some help.
And what kind of treatment did they give you?
They put my leg on a 2x4 and then they stitched it up.
All this time, I mean, there's guys with guns around you, guarding you.
Right.
They was like, we had to stay there for them to investigate us and different things. And like one of them was sitting but a chair, like where you sitting to, and he was looking at something on his phone. And I can remember the sound of that day of when it happened. Like I could remember the gunshots, the noise, and I heard it. And I asked him, I said, excuse me, is that us? And he said, yes. I said, can I see it? And he's like, hold on. And he turned the phone around and he showed a video of us being kidnapped and stuff like that.
One of the gunmen actually showed you the video that we've all seen of you being kidnapped on the street.
Mm-hmm.
That's surreal. I mean, what was that like?
I just started crying. It's like I'm never going home.
Did it in any way help you to know that this video was out there, that people
Yes,
at least
knew?
knew?
I thought maybe it was just out in Mexico. I didn't know that it hadn't reached the
To
States.
the United States, right.
So I felt a little better, because I just didn't know our families knew anything that happened to us.
You're a woman in custody with cartel gunmen. Were they threatening to you in violence, in sexual violence? I mean,
Yeah, they said all that stuff, all that.
they did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you heard some of the clip. These are the two survivors of the Mexican kidnapping that happened a month ago. And Mexican cartel actually turned in the guys because they grabbed the wrong people. And two of their, I think one was a relative, one was a friend that was killed. And, they said they didn't deserve that. And none of them deserve what happened. And I agree with that. It should never have happened. But we all know parts of Mexico, it's very dangerous. Even the government there tells you some of these places are too dangerous for anyone to travel to because of all the drug cartel activity. And they unfortunately ended up in that place. So Latavia Washington McGee told Anderson Cooper in an exclusive that Washington McGee, Eric Williams, Shahid Woodard, and Zendel Brown were all kidnapped on March 3rd as they were driving to a medical appointment. Woodard and Brown were both killed. So the attack happened in broad daylight. And you heard her, she said one of the cartel showed her the video clip of them getting kidnapped. But at that particular time, they thought it was only being shown in Mexico. She had no idea it was also being shown in the US as well. And they came under attack long after they crossed into the Mexico border. And they're still saying more than likely they were mistaken for Haitians. The group was driving when they heard a car horn behind them. Brown looked back to see a gun and warned the others not to stop. Washington McGee were called. So then they start hearing shooting. Zendel and Saheed, they jumped up to run and they were gunned down. Okay, so that's how those two died. I was wondering how they died. So they looked like they jumped out of the vehicle, and as they were running, they got shot to death, both of them. Then they said someone started to beat on the car window, and Williams jumped out of the driver's side, and that's when I heard the shots on both legs. McGee said they were forced into the bed of a pickup truck, and you saw that on the video, the little clip. And, she said they were taken to a house. So William McGee told Anderson Cooper that Brown and Woodard were both still alive when their limp bodies were dragged into the bed of the truck. So they were shot, but they weren't dead at that point. The four were driven to another spot. They were interrogated. That's when Saheed said, "I love y'all. I'm gone." And he died right there, Williams said. Woodard laying dying in the back of the pickup truck. "I told him I was sorry," Washington McGee recalled. He said he loved us and he was gone. It was the last thing he said, Williams said through tears. Washington McGee and Williams said they were taken to several different locations over the days they spent in captivity, getting blindfolded as they were moved between locations. At one point, the group said they were taken to a house. Outside, they saw armed people with red plastic Diablo masks who were pointing guns at their heads and telling them not to look up, Williams said. She said they were also taken to a clinic. Williams described his leg being placed on a piece of wood and stitched up. No pain medication, nothing. They just stitched it up, Williams said, adding that no one checked to see if a bullet was still in there. Williams McGee said she was put in a room with Brown, who was badly wounded and dying. He was fighting for his life, and they didn't do nothing. I talked to him the whole time. I just told him sorry because I asked him to come with us. He was like, "It's okay. I'm your brother. I'm supposed to be there for you. I love you," Washington McGee recalled. The kidnappers told them they would take Brown to a hospital, Washington McGee said, but they came back maybe an hour later and said he was dead. At one point, someone showed Washington McGee the actual kidnapping, and she said she started crying at that time. And they wanted them to have sex, and they lied and said they were brother and sister. And Washington McGee said she was pregnant. That's how they got around that. That is just horrible. That is horrible. At one point, Washington McGee and Williams were blindfolded and taken to a truck. Williams says his friends' bodies were placed on top of him to keep him hidden. The Americans were driven around all night. They heard the sounds of guns being cocked. They had police scanners and all types of stuff in the truck. They knew what was going on, and we were always a step ahead. So they said eventually they were dropped off at the wooden shack where they were rescued on the 7th of March. Wow. And then I did a video on the drug cartels writing an apology letter. I was like, wow, that's really unheard of. And wow, 4 days of pure hell. Well, I'm glad they lived to tell the story. It's unfortunate they all did not live, but it sure gives us more insight on what happened. Y'all, please tell me what you think about this story. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.